8 Key Secrets to Consistently Getting Tons of Free Publicity, and How to Use It to Send Your Sales Through the Roof. Let's start by clearing up a prominent misconception about publicity. Most people believe that publicity is so valuable because it's free. Sorry, but that just isn't so. Now, it's certainly a valuable bonus, but it isn't the major factor that makes publicity so desirable. Credibility is what makes publicity such a valuable tool. You see, people today are far more sophisticated than they've ever been when it comes to advertising. They realize that advertising is paid for, and that companies can buy space to say whatever they wish about their products and services. Because of this, your potential customers are far more skeptical than they've ever been, but publicity leaps this hurdle of skepticism. Because publicity cannot be bought, it appears to be endorsed by the medium that makes your announcement. And since people tend to trust the media they watch, listen to, or read regularly, they accept your message as being completely credible. That's why publicity can win you many more sales than any form of paid advertising or promotion. Taking advantage of this accepted state of credibility can result in a windfall for your company. Why you aren't getting as much free publicity as you could be. You've just heard the good news, now here's the bad. Despite the fact that publicity can be so valuable to you, and despite the fact that publicity is actually pretty easy to get, most companies fall flat on their faces when it comes to winning this valuable coverage. This happens because you don't understand and use the few simple rules of publicity to your advantage. Which means that a tremendous amount of waste is taking place because you should be getting nearly all of the publicity you want on a regular, consistent basis. This situation is about to change. Because once you finish this report, you'll have everything you need to get all of the publicity your business needs. When you start to put these techniques into action, you can easily double or triple the publicity coverage you get. We'll start by looking at the 8 key secrets that can skyrocket your publicity results. Then, I'll give you a toolkit of high-powered techniques you can use to become your own successful publicist. And finally, I'll reveal my can't-miss formula for winning coverage from your most coveted media sources. When we're done, you'll have everything you need to start capitalizing on endless publicity opportunities. In just a short time, you should begin to experience a steady stream of qualified leads and outright sales that result from a properly tuned publicity program. The 8 Key Secrets to Consistently Getting Tons of Free Publicity. Getting consistent media coverage is actually much easier than you might think. Like anything else, there are rules to the game. The only problem is, most of the rules are kept secret. They aren't written down and they take years to discover on your own, but you've come to the right place. Here are the 8 key secrets that you can use to make sure your publicity generates sizable exposure and profits. Key secret number 1, you must generate honest-to-goodness news about your product or service. Keep in mind that the primary job of newspapers, magazines, radio, and television stations is to bring news to their audiences. Some media may also entertain, but their fundamental purpose is to deliver news that is of value to their particular audience. What this means is that you have to translate the message about your product or service into newsworthy information. Take heart, this doesn't mean that you'll have to hire a moonlighting reporter or television anchor to help you create news. You simply have to generate a news angle for presenting your information. Now there's one more ingredient that's necessary to be successful on this point. The news that you generate must be of vital interest to your targeted media's audience. Products often have a variety of appealing characteristics or benefits. You increase your chances of getting coverage if you base your news on the strongest benefit to your media's audience. The best ways to generate news is to develop an angle about your product or service that will either 1. Solve a vital problem that the audience has, 2. Show the audience how to achieve a highly desirable goal, 3. Offer the audience something for free. The third point needs a little more explanation. Giving something away for free is a powerful publicity weapon. People love to get things for free. Free samples, free demonstrations, free informational booklets, and free consultations all work exceptionally well in getting your prospects to respond, The other distinct advantage to using a free offer is that it strongly increases your chances of getting media coverage. Editors and station managers love to give things away to their audiences, especially when it's at your expense. So if you want to increase the coverage you get, try this powerful weapon. If you want to go all the way and win the most coverage possible, develop a news angle that incorporates all three of these elements. At the end of this report, you'll find a news release sample number 1 I created to promote my quarterly newsletter. It puts all three of these elements to work. Every time I've mailed it out, I've had exceptional results. Feel free to adapt it to your specific needs. Key secret number 2, you must create and carry out a solid publicity plan. Okay, so key secret number 1 was easy enough, a piece of cake, in fact. But along comes key secret number 2 and things start to get ugly. I can just imagine the curses against my heritage you're coming up with. Because, bottom line, nobody likes to plan, and very few of us do any planning at all. Bear with me for a minute. In a little while, I'm going to show you a fairly painless way to create your publicity plan. But more importantly, I want to show you why it's absolutely critical that you take the time up front to create a publicity plan. Here's why: your level of success in winning valuable media coverage is directly proportional to how well you plan and carry out your campaign. If you don't have a plan, you have no control over what publicity you get. The coverage you get will be due either to luck or the arbitrary decision of a media decision maker. By developing a solid, simple plan, you gain a measure of control over where you get coverage. A plan lets you take positive action. No plan reduces your efforts to weak reactions to outside forces. Creating your publicity plan is simple. All it takes is a little homework. Here are the steps to follow. 1. Select the audience or audiences most likely to buy your product or service. 2. For each audience, select all of the media that they read, watch, and listen to. I'll give you precise details for doing this in key secret number 3. 3. Set a reasonable schedule for contacting each of these media sources. This should cover a period of 3 to 6 months. 4. Follow your schedule and track your results. Sample number 2 at the back of this report gives you a form to lay out your schedule and track your results. 5. Persistently follow up those media sources that could be most profitable to you. See key secret number 4 for complete details on this point. Once you discover how simple it is to lay out a publicity plan, you'll wonder why you resisted doing this for so long. As you can see, it's really easy to do. Which reminds me, don't let its simplicity fool you. A plan as simple as the one in the example can yield potent results. Here's why. First, it forces you to clearly and logically think out everything you're going to do for the next 3 to 6 months. Charting your course makes sure you know where you're starting from and where you want to get to. Second, it makes carrying out an effective, ongoing campaign easier. You just schedule your tasks and make sure they get done. Third, it's a great management tool that gives you all kinds of excellent feedback, such as which media regularly respond to your promotions. How long does it take key media sources to respond? Which media sources produce such strong results you'll want to give them increased priority? Create your personal publicity plan today. Carry it out like clockwork. Then reap the benefits. Key secret number 3, how to get the best results from your media sources. If you've read other books or reports on getting publicity, you'll find that the majority instruct you to develop business relationships with every media source that you possibly can, and to follow up every news release with a phone call. I say that's a load of garbage. First of all, if you follow that line of thinking, you'll never have time to do anything else in your business besides run your publicity campaign. Getting the most from a good publicity campaign is really just a matter of common sense and time management. Here's how you really get things done. You have to use a hybrid shotgun/rifle approach. Let's start with the shotgun approach. To run this portion of your campaign, you'll need to build a list of every magazine, newspaper, radio show, and television show that you want coverage from. These are the sources you'll want to send a copy of every news release you generate. To accomplish this, use the following websites and reference books. Jebi Press. Jebi Press offers media contact information in both print and CD versions, so you can build your own database and select which newspapers, radio stations, etc. to send your news releases to. http://www.jebiinc.com/order.htm. Bacon's Media News, Services and Information. Bacon's has 70,000 media contacts nationwide that you can use to build your database. They also offer a news release distribution service. http://www.bacons.com. Bacon's Publicity Checker. R.H. Bacon Company, 332 South Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois 60604, features thousands of newspapers and magazines. Hudson's Newsletter Directory. The Newsletter Clearinghouse, 44 West Market Street, Rhinebeck, New York 12572, features more than 3,000 newsletters. Standard Periodical Directory, Oxbridge Communications, 155th Avenue No. 301, New York 10011, features over 30,000 magazines and newsletters. Working Press of the Nation, National Research Bureau, 310 South Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois 60604, features over 25,000 newspapers, magazines, radio, and television stations. U.S. Publicity Directory, John Wiley Sons, 605 3rd Avenue, New York, New York 10158, features thousands of newspapers, magazines, radio, and television stations. Once you've built your list, you'll want 10 extract a limited subset of important contacts, who you might want to follow up with a phone call. This is your hit them between the eyes rifle list. The proper use of this list is where effective time management comes into play. The media sources you'll be using are frazzled, overworked people with impossible deadlines. It's not uncommon for it to take 10 to 20 phone calls just to get through to one of these sources. In fact, count on this as a rule. As you can see, this can be a very time-consuming process. So you'll need to be very conservative about how many sources you select for follow-up calls to keep this from becoming an overwhelming task. Here's one more reason why I don't feel a lot of follow-up calls are necessary. You see, the media is hungry, even desperate for good news. They have a tremendous amount of space to fill each and every day. Because this is unfailingly true, your chances of getting coverage for a truly appropriate item are excellent, regardless of whether you call someone or not. What I recommend is a campaign where 95% of your contacts are made exclusively by mail. To track your results, use a reply postcard like the one in sample number 3 at the back of this report. For the remaining 5%, you'll need to determine when it's truly of value to invest your valuable time trying to break through the telephone barrier. The criteria you should use to determine this are: 1. How valuable would this coverage be to you? 2. How likely are you to win this coverage? If you sell accounting software for personal computers, your typical customers would be small businesses and investors. It isn't likely that you'd be Johnny Carson's featured guest. But a key mention in Success, Entrepreneur, or Business Week could return handsome profits. Those are the media sources you'll want to concentrate on following up with a phone call, so pick your shots, and pick them carefully. Key secret number 4, here's the main reason companies fail to get all of the free publicity they need. Time and time again, clients ask me this question: how do I improve the results of my publicity campaign? For the vast majority of my clients, and this probably includes you, the answer is persistence. See, most people already know this, but they want to fool themselves. They want to believe that I can impart some mystical secret that will solve all of their problems. But, you see, every time I wave my marketing wand, I come up with exactly the same answer: persistence. Persistence means that you develop a solid publicity plan and stick to it. This is the vital ingredient that will bring you the success you want so badly. Because you have to realize that a good campaign takes 3 to 6 months to work effectively, and sometimes longer. Also, a publicity campaign is often most successful if it's carried out in phases. Here, again, persistence is a key ingredient. Let's say your ultimate goal is to get coverage in large circulation national magazines. During the first phase, you'll send your media kit to all of the vital sources on your list. These will include local sources, sources within your state, and sources on a national level. Some of these sources will give you some coverage while others won't. That's to be expected. In the first phase, the majority of the coverage that you get will be from local media sources. You might also get some statewide exposure and occasionally some national exposure. But, for all practical purposes, let's assume that the coverage you get is local. Being a savvy marketer, your next phase involves making a clip sheet that features quotes from the publicity you received in the first phase. Now you mail your media packet again, but this time you include your clip sheet. You'll find that a snowball effect takes place. Publicity generates more publicity. Publicity clips increase your credibility. They also force your key sources to think about whether other sources are offering vital information that they aren't. Which results in more of these sources jumping on the bandwagon and more publicity for you. Here's another reason why persistence is so crucial. Many media sources receive thousands of media packets every week. These folks are overloaded with material and work at a hectic pace. Often, they'll barely notice your first media kit, but your product or company name may enter their subconscious. It may take 2 or 3 or 10 times before you win the coverage you want, but persistence will make it happen. Want a great example of persistence at work? I know of an author who wanted to get an important columnist to review his book. He sent the reviewer a media kit with updated clipping sheets every month for over a year. At first, the reviewer was mildly annoyed. Then he became irritated. But finally, he decided to review the book. The columnist told me that anyone who was so determined deserved a bit of special consideration. Always remember, persistence pays off. Key secret number 5, the difference between mediocre results and winning results is often ingenuity. When you're trying to get publicity coverage, you're one of literally thousands who are competing for the same coverage. To increase your chances of becoming successful at consistently winning the coverage you need, it helps to stand out from the crowd. How do you achieve this? By using ingenuity. And by becoming an ingenious opportunist. A little ingenuity costs nothing, but can return lucrative results. To put your ingenuity to work, you need to do 2 things. First, you need to start thinking of news angles that are a bit more creative than your competition. Here's a great example of an ingenious opportunist at work. A few years back, Melvin Powers, who has sold over 200 million books for his publishing company, needed to publicize his line of books for horse lovers. These books were going to be exhibited at a trade show. He sent press kits to all of the reviewers whose readership included horse lovers. Now, here's the ingenious part. Included in his press kit was a poster of a lithesome, nude young lady leading a horse through a meadow of wildflowers. The caption on the poster read, "Follow me to booth 1381 at the booksellers trade show. I'll personally autograph your poster." When members of the press and major book buyers arrived at the show, hordes of them headed straight for booth 1381. And sure enough, the lovely model was there to greet them, but this time she was fully clothed. And let me tell you, Melvin Powers sold tons of his books. You too can become an ingenious opportunist. Another way to accomplish this is by seeking out publicity angles in the everyday events that are going on all around you. There are unlimited opportunities for creating news about your product or service. Here's another example of what I mean. Recently, while driving to work, I heard a limousine company make ingenious use of publicity. A woman called a popular FM radio station to complain about the service she had received from Limousine Service A. The limo had broken down. The company refused to correct the problem, which ruined her evening, and was giving her the runaround about refunding her money. The DJ proceeded to get the manager of Limo Service A on the phone to see if he could correct the situation. On the air, the manager of limo service A proceeded to be rude and evasive, refusing to do anything at all to resolve the problem. Upon hearing this, the manager of limo service B, who was an ingenious opportunist, seized the opportunity. He called in, went on the air, and offered the woman a free evening of limo service with a complimentary bottle of champagne. He said he wanted to help solve the woman's problem and demonstrate that not all limo services were unscrupulous. He was friendly, helpful, and ready to serve. For the remainder of the show, the DJ kept talking about how wonderful limo service B was. This savvy marketer generated over an hour's worth of free coverage on a major radio station that appeals directly to his target audience. And how did he do this? By solving a problem, helping his prospect achieve an important goal, and giving away something for free. An ingenious use of an opportunity. As it happened, you too can become an ingenious opportunist. Try this little exercise. For the next 3 days, read your newspaper and listen to the radio. Pick out at least 3 opportunities that you could turn into publicity for your product. Once you've been bitten by the bug, you'll start to see opportunities all over the place. One last thing. Start a swipe file of ingenious promotions. Every time you hear of something that someone else has done to effectively promote their company, jot it down in your swipe file. This will get your creative juices flowing and give you an ongoing source of inspiration. Key secret number 6, piggybacking. How to pyramid the publicity you get into immense sales success. In key secret number 4, I showed you how to generate waves of publicity by running your campaign in phases. That is, starting out locally and progressing to national exposure. Key secret number 6 takes advantage of a similar concept as it relates to your advertising. Here, I'll show you how to marry your publicity efforts to your advertising for maximum results. I call this technique piggybacking. The object of piggybacking is to use your publicity to fortify your advertising campaign. Here are 4 piggyback techniques you should try. 1. Reprint your publicity and include it in mailings to your customers. This can be an entire article or a sheet with excerpts from your best coverage. Always be sure to prominently include the name of your source. And use their logo whenever you can. 2. Have one or more of your most favorable pieces blown up to poster size and display it prominently in your place of business. This is especially successful if you place it in a waiting or lounging area. 3. When you get a large response to a publicity piece, advertise in the media that gave you coverage. This is just plain common sense. Whenever you identify a vein of gold, work it. Don't advertise in the issue where you get free coverage. Run your ad in the following issue so you make 2 successive impressions on your prospective customers. And always quote from your favorable coverage in your ad. 4. Quote from your publicity in your advertising. As seen on TV. As seen on national television. Or, here's what Jane Jones of the Daily Blurb said about our money-saving whamblasters. Use statements like these to lend believability to your advertising. These 4 techniques piggyback the credibility and believability you've garnered from your publicity onto your advertising. Use them for maximum impact. Key secret number 7, tapping into the immense power of community services. Working with your local community services groups is an exceptional way to win loads of publicity for your business. In general, these types of promotions work best for retail businesses. But with a little creativity, they can be adapted to nearly any type of business. I'm going to show you 2 valuable techniques for working with local charities and community groups. Although these techniques are quite different, they both share a similar quality. They're both active promotions. By this, I mean that the object of them is to actively bring a new flow of customers into your business. This is quite different than how you've probably handled your community involvement programs in the past. Usually, companies use passive techniques like donating a product to be auctioned off or be used as a door prize. This really doesn't earn you much exposure at all. And it probably brings in few, if any, new customers. When you use a passive technique, here's what happens. A few people hear your company name, but they're really paying attention to the gift itself. And nobody leaves with any information about your product or company. That's all about to change. The techniques I'm going to show you are specifically designed to help charitable organizations by getting people to come into your place of business to collect their reward. The first technique takes a lot of planning and effort, so you'll only want to do this once or twice a year. Let's say the Boy Scouts contact you to help raise money to send needy kids to summer camp. Instead of a donation, recommend that you provide them with a means of raising even more money. What you're going to do is sponsor a Boy Scout day at your business. Here's how it works. You donate 50% of all your profits, notice I said profits, not daily, receipts, to the Boy Scouts. Their job is to get as many people as possible into your place of business on that day. The more people that come in, the more money they'll make. You'll promote the event also. But it's their effort that will really boost your traffic. Okay, there's only one thing missing to get maximum mileage from this promotion. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's your piggyback. Here's how you work your piggyback to increase your chances of converting these new customers to repeat customers. You give every customer a thank you coupon courtesy of the Boy Scouts, as their way of thanking these good folks for helping them raise money. The Boy Scouts give every customer a coupon good for a discount the next time they visit your place of business. You'll profit from the extra business as well as standing a good chance of gaining more repeat business. The second technique is much less time consuming, so it can be carried out on an ongoing basis. I call this technique the incentive donation because your donation is used as an incentive to sell whatever the charitable group is offering. For example, let's say you own an ice cream shop. Your local Girl Scout chapter is having a raffle to raise funds. They want you to donate free ice cream to be served at the raffle. In exchange, they'll give your business a plug at their event. Hold on. Does this do anything to actually get people into your store? Are you getting any true benefit from this at all? Not a chance. What you're doing is as close to making a cash donation as you can get. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if making a cash donation is your true intention. Just be clear about what you're doing, and about how little you'll actually gain. Here's how you help the Girl Scouts and help yourself. You have the Girl Scouts print your message on the back of their raffle tickets. The back of the ticket bears a coupon that entitles the holder to 50 cents off of your double dip cone, which ordinarily sells for $1.35. Now the Girl Scouts can use this as a promotional angle to sell more tickets. They tell prospective buyers that a ticket costs $1 and they get 50 cents back when they buy your ice cream. The Girl Scouts win, the ticket buyers win, and you win. So far, so good, but we're not quite through here. Now that you're fast becoming a savvy marketer, I probably don't have to tell you that you have one more chance to piggyback this opportunity. You're going to seize this opportunity to get yourself some media exposure. You do this by sending a news release to all of the appropriate media. And since you capitalize on every available opportunity, you make sure that the news release is printed on the community organization's stationery. Just another example of tapping into the power of community services. Key secret number 8, become a numbers addict. If you walk away with nothing else from this report, I hope you'll remember this: measuring your results and applying the knowledge you've gained from this to your publicity will increase your success rate exponentially. The truth is, marketing is primarily a science with just dabs of art applied here and there. No kidding. The science of planning and carrying out your plan followed by the science of measuring and applying your results will bear more fruit than any creative fix you can think of. Here's what's needed to successfully capture all of the invaluable information you'll need. You have to start thinking of every publicity piece you place as direct marketing. It's absolutely essential to include a key code with everything you send out and in every piece of coverage you get. I know, I can hear you groaning now about how tedious it is to keep 600 news releases. That's true. It does require some effort. But that effort will pay off big. Once you begin to track your response, to see which media sources provide the best results. You've got the ammunition you need to drive your future publicity and advertising campaigns. This market intelligence will help you target the golden areas where your most lucrative profits are. So key everything you generate with a special box number, department, or suite. If you don't, you're throwing away money. Ingenious ideas you can use to start cashing in on free publicity today. Alright, you've learned the 8 key secrets that will give your publicity campaigns a real shot in the arm. But we're not through yet. What follows is a wealth of ingenious ideas you can use right away to generate tons of valuable coverage. Donate samples of your product to prominent public figures. If you get a response, which is quite likely with members of Congress and the Senate, publicize it. The media loves news involving prominent people. Sponsor a contest. Restaurants can give away dinner for 4 to the winner of a worst recipe contest. Travel agencies can sponsor a weekend getaway. And your business can easily come up with its own unique contest ideas to use for publicity. Sponsor an award. This is especially useful for service companies and book publishers. But since it can be serious or frivolous, nearly any business should be able to take advantage of this technique. Cater to your local media. Local editors and producers love hometown success stories. Since most media sources belong to national wire services or syndicates, it's also possible that this could snowball into national coverage. Send your news releases to the national wire services. Associated Press, AP, and United Press International, UPI, are handled through regional offices. Call information to get the phone numbers for your city. Then call and get the appropriate names and addresses for sending your news release. Become known as a quotable expert. Once you've received coverage, be sure to let your media contact know that you're available for quotes at any time. Inform them of any other areas related to your product that you're an expert on. This saves your media source valuable time when they're in a crunch for quotable information. Send thank you notes whenever you receive coverage. Few people follow this common courtesy. Editors and producers are human and appreciate being treated courteously. To create news, tie into holidays, special events, current events, and popular trends. For example, two-income families are a trend that many products and services are being developed for. These products are naturals for generating news, for parenting magazines, lifestyle sections of newspapers, and productivity sections of executive-oriented publications. Here's a gem you should know about and use regularly. Chase's annual events lists thousands of holidays and special events that you can tie your publicity to. Just thumbing through it will produce a wealth of valuable ideas. You can find it in your public library or order it from Contemporary Books, 180 N Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois 60601. Trade journals publish news of conferences, conventions, seminars, and staff promotions. Use these to get free visibility for your company. Donate your product or services to a charitable event. Then send news releases to let the media know you've done so. Charity events are traditionally given ample coverage by the media. You can help worthy causes and get valuable publicity at the same time. Offer something for free whenever possible. I know I've talked about this many times before, but it's worth repeating. If your product is right for a media source, a free offering is almost too juicy for an editor or station manager to pass up. This technique is my personal favorite because it works so well. In fact, I never put out a news release for my own business without offering something for free. Trade shows and industry conferences are perfect for passing out flyers about your product. And savvy marketer that you are, your flyers always include a free offer to get the maximum response now. And a key code to allow you to track and measure that response. Sorling's can't miss formula for winning free coverage from your most highly coveted media sources. What would you give to get free coverage in the 10 most important media sources for your product? A lot, I'll bet. Well, start sending me those Ferraris and lewd propositions now. Just kidding, gang. Because, I'm going to show you how to do precisely that. Here's my can't miss formula. Select the top 15 media sources you'd like to see feature your product. Send each of these sources a news release, along with a single sheet of your press clippings, when you have them, once a month, every month for the next 12 months. After your third mailing, call those sources who haven't yet given you coverage, ask them what you need to do to make your information more appropriate for their audience. The key words here are your information, not your product. Use what they tell you to modify your campaign accordingly. Keep mailing every month and follow up with a phone call every 3 months. Within a year, your persistence should pay off. You should easily win coverage from at least 10 of the crucial sources on your list. A few last words. Congratulations. You've just completed your first step on the journey to becoming a highly successful publicist. You've discovered the 8 key secrets that you can use to start boosting your publicity success immediately. I've also given you a variety of ideas you can use for publicizing your business. And you now know how simple it is to generate the kind of publicity you need from your most crucial sources. I hope you'll put what you've learned into action starting now. Because information is just information until you give it some action. It's action that really produces results. And what I've shown you here are dozens of opportunities to take action. If you don't take action, the results are predictable. The same old weak, hit and miss, results that most companies settle for. Don't let that happen to you. You now know how easy it really is to generate consistent, high-quality publicity. Go out and do it. Do it for the sake of your business. And do it for the sake of the people whose lives will be made better from having used your product or service. When you do put these opportunities into action, please let me hear from you. I'm never done learning. I'm always interested in hearing about techniques that work. The way you use the ideas in this report will carry your personal touch. I'd love to hear about your results. Please hit the subscribe button for the support of our channel and share our videos for more new upcoming content. We are very happy to create new ideas and review for everyone. God bless and happy listening.